everybody, welcome back to Kitty Speaks. It is Sondra, aka Kitty. I'm here today with another edition, and today is going to be a lot different than what you're used to from me. Today I'm going to get not a little, but way more personal, and I am going to do a story time video. I should warn you up front that this video is going to be very disturbing to hear. But it is my truth, it is my life, and I'm going to share with you some things that I never wanted to share with anyone. And while I'm doing it, I am going to do my makeup. This is going to be a first look video at a whole ton of products. I am not going to do a haul, but while I'm talking, I'm just going to show you the things that I bought last night at my CVS, and then I'm going to go ahead and get into the story time video. So I got a bunch of CoverGirl Queen products. They are not available at my local CVS, but I was in a different CVS, and they did have a limited collection. I need some water. Of CoverGirl Queen products. Excuse me. My mouth was dry. I got a little bit of Garnier 5-second blur on my finger, and I need to put it on my face because I'm scared it's going to drop off. My face is clean, it is moisturized, it is primed. I've got on Smashbox primer water, and I also have on Makeup Forever HD hydrating primer. But the 5-second blur is for this bad boy, so I can kind of have a smooth palette. I am so almost out of 5-second blur. Anyway, I got the Natural Hue bronzer in brown bronze, which I am not at all sure is dark enough. I got the Ardell Pro Brow Mechanical Pencil in dark brown, and I tried it out a little bit, and so far it seems to be pretty good. I got 3 Black Opal True Color foundation sticks. I got Heavenly Honey, which is too light, and I may use it for highlighting. I don't know. I got Truly Topaz, which is my color, and the darkest one they had was Black Walnut, and I'm going to use that to contour with. I also picked up CoverGirl Queen lipstick in Q445 Girly Pink. This is the lipstick that I'm going to be wearing, so you'll see it when I wear it because I can't open it right now. I can't get, oh, there we go. It's really pretty. And I got, no, I'm not going to wear this. I'm going to wear the Revlon HD, Ultra HD in Snapdragon. This is the lipstick that I am going to wear today. What else did I buy? Oh, I bought Comfort Zone. I finally found it. I got Pedal Pusher. I'm going to be wearing Comfort Zone today. And is that all I bought? I think that's all I bought. So anyway, yeah, this is going to be a first look at a bunch of products. And yeah, so I'm going to do my makeup while I do the story time video. So let's get into the story. This story is the second time my mother put a hit out on my ex-husband. What you need to know about me is that I was married for nearly 16 years. I have 4 children from my marriage. My ex-husband also does not have any children outside of our marriage. They are 20, well, she'll be 25, and their birthdays are coming up, so I'm just going to give the I cannot get this open. Ah, I got it open. I am so excited to use this Comfort Zone. 25, 23, 18, and 15. We've been divorced nearly 10 years, 8 or 9, or I don't really remember the year that we got divorced. So this is the second time my mom put a hit out on my ex-husband. I left home and became an emancipated adult when I was 17 years old. I had a awful childhood. My mother has mental illness issues, and so that made my childhood, you know, you can imagine how it made my childhood. She was not at all happy about me leaving home, and she blamed my ex-husband for that. So one day I went to my mom's house to pick up my brother's daughter. At the time she was like 2, and she was like my only niece. My brother, who is 37, I think he just made 37 on November 5th. He has been in prison since he was about 18, and he is not eligible for parole until like 2040 something. So, and then my youngest brother at the time didn't have any children, so I only had this one niece, and I would go and get her all the time. I would have her at my house for like weeks at a time. I got her a puppy. Like, I just loved this little girl. I went to go and pick her up. At the time, my brother and his girlfriend were living with my mom, and when I left, the minute I left, my mom started telling my brothers that I had just told her that my ex-husband had had sex with one of my daughters, that I wanted them to come and kill him, that they didn't want to tell me, I didn't want to tell them, so I told her, and she was supposed to tell them. Like, I went downstairs and got in my car, and my brothers came out at the car, and they were like, "We'll see you soon, we're going to come out there." And I just thought that they were telling me that, you know, that they were going to come and visit my house soon. Like, I didn't think anything of it. But she had just tuned them up, and they were telling me that they were coming out to my house to kill my husband, but they were like speaking incognito. I didn't know, like, I didn't understand what was going on. I thought they were just saying that they were going to come and visit me soon. I didn't understand, like, why are you at my car and I just left out of the house? Like, so I got in my car with my niece. I went home. A few hours later, at like 2 or 3 in the morning, my brothers came knocking on the door. My ex-husband and I were estranged, although he was in my home, but he was like sleeping on my couch. So he went to the door in his boxer shorts and saw my brothers and like went to tell them, "Hold on a minute, I gotta put on some pants." And they like bust down my door. They broke the door and came in my house. They had dudes with them that had guns. They had, my brother and his wife was also there. And the next thing I know, all I hear is blam, 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 bloom, bloom, bloom in my house. So I go downstairs. Now, all my children are in their bedrooms asleep. So all this wakes them up. My children are like coming out of their rooms. What's going on? I go, they've got my husband, at the time we were married, they have him on the ground outside. It was January, in his boxers. My brother's standing over him, "Don't move, if you get up, I'm going to kill you," all this old crazy stuff. And I'm like, what is going on? They wouldn't let me come out of the house. My mother had told them not to believe anything that I said, that I didn't want my husband to know that I had asked them to come. So I was going to be acting real shifty, you know, so that it would look real, but don't believe anything that I said. So I'm like, what is going on? And I'm trying to like talk to them. You need to talk to me. Tell me what is going on. And they're like, "It's okay. I didn't know he was treating you like this. I'm not going to let him treat my sister like this." My brother's wife comes. I had her daughter in my arms, sitting on a chair. She came and took her from me. She was like, "Kitty, why would you let Why would you bring my baby girl to your house knowing that your husband is having sex with your daughter? Why would you? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, this is not true. They, like, told him to get out of my house, leave my house. No, you can't take your clothes. No, you can't take your things. You better not ever come back here. They left my youngest brother. My mother had told him to stay at my house and not let my husband in the house. Mind you, my youngest brother, at one point in time, I had gone to court to get custody of him. I was his legal guardian. But he decided to go back home to my mother. So this boy had lived in our house, lived with us as parents, knew us as parents, and believed this foolishness that my mom had said. So he got this big old knife. He's like, I'm not letting him come back in here. So finally, after hours of talking to him, I get him to tell me what my mother did. And I'm like, that is not true. So he started to believe me, and my ex-husband came back the next morning, and, you know, he let him come in the house, and we were just talking to him like, dude, tell us what happened. He told us, and we were like, why would you believe any of that? And we were your parents. You lived with us. You know how we are. Why would you believe that? He was like, he told us that if we had seen the way my mother was behaving, he told us that she was like on the floor crying, and if we had been there, we would have believed her too, that she was just acting so distressed and distraught that he believed her. So now the important part of the story is that I told you that I have a brother who is in prison. My mother had 4 children. None of us have the same father. I'm the oldest. The brother that is under me had been in prison at this time for, I don't know, but he had been in prison for a bunch of years. And she sent my other 2 brothers, her only other 2 children, to my house. I lived in Indiana, to kill somebody. If they had have killed him and been caught, they would have gone to prison for like ever. And she would have lost all of her children in one fell swoop, because I would have never forgiven her. You had the father of my children murdered. I would have not ever forgiven her, and then all 3 of her sons would have been in jail. So I'm like, dude, why would you? And he's like, Kitty, you just had to be there. So she calls that next morning. Well, that morning, because this all happened at like 2 or 3 in the morning. She calls at like 10 to find out what's going on. And I'm like, on the phone like, why would you do that? She told me that she didn't do it. She told me that it was my brother's wife, that you know how ghetto she is, you know how awful she is, you know, if I had done that, why was I not there? I would have been there. Now, my brother already told me that my mom had tried to do everything she could to get in the car, but my mother has like a bunch of felonies, so they didn't want her to go. So they told her that they was going to go find somebody to give them a ride to Indiana, and she should wait and they would come back and scoop her up. But they didn't. They just came straight out to my house without her. My brother was like, it would have went way less if we had brought her. And we didn't want to kill nobody, but we would have if, you know, but she had told them that he not only had sex with my daughter, but that he had me on cocaine, crack, that he had me locked up in the basement of my own home. And I was just like, listening to me, like when my brother started telling me what she said, I was like, dude, does any of that even sound real to you? Do you honestly think that I would let somebody have me chained up in my own home? If he did have me chained up in my home, how is it that I'm driving around in my car picking up, you know, my brother's daughter, like he just let me out on a reprieve? Like, why did none of that sound like foolishness to you? And he was like, Kitty, like she was so emotional about it that it just all seemed real. So eventually my brother, I got him to go home, get out of my house. Like my mom had told him. He was like, it's an order from the queen. Like the way that he was said, it was just so ridiculous. The queen said, what the queen say do, that's what you do. I'm trying really hard to cover this without having to use concealer, but I should not be putting on this much foundation over and over again. What the queen say do, you do. Just, if you just had heard like the bizarre foolishness. I forgot that I wanted to blend this out with my sponge and not with that brush. I feel like this is supposed to be a full coverage concealer, but I feel like I can see my face is broken out from the Becca foundation. I returned the Becca foundation to Sephora yesterday. So my face is broken out. I have like all these little red bumps, and I actually don't want to wear makeup until it heals, but I wanted to try out this Black Opal foundation stick, so it's like a catch-22. Anyway, I can still see, I don't know, I'm gonna try to, anyway, so I got my brother to go home, you know, my ex-husband back in the house or whatever. To this day, oh, so I was on the phone with my mom asking her, and she's telling me that it was my brother's wife, that it wasn't her, that if it had been her, why wasn't she there? You know, does this even sound like if she wanted that to happen, she wouldn't have been there? Okay, but the thing you have to remember is I said that this is the second time my mom put a hit out on my ex-husband. So this had happened before. Like, of course I believe him and I do not believe you. She started crying, you're my only daughter, all this stuff, I wouldn't do that to you, just all this foolishness. This has been, now my brother's daughter is in 5th grade, so this has been like maybe 7 or 8 years at this point. I've only talked to my mom like 3 or 4 times since that point. Each time I tried to give her the opportunity to be honest and woman up to what you did, and each time she says that it was not her. And I am all for forgiving people. However, to forgive somebody, they have to actually want forgiveness, and she just will not admit that she did that. Like, it's really insulting to me. Like, you must think that I am really stupid if I'm just gonna buy this crap you're trying to sell me on a plate. You know, if you put a pile of poop on a plate and you're trying to tell me it tastes good, but I'm looking at it and it's poop, it's still poop. So I'm like, there is no way that I'm about to buy that. You know, I'm just not. I've ruined my scarf. Anyway, yeah. I got a little sidetracked and I don't really remember where I am, but that is the story. My mom sent some gangbangers with guns because they brought a couple of dudes with them that had guns that were just like some gangbangers they knew from the hood that would be willing to kill somebody at a moment's notice, brought them to my home with my children in the house, bust down my door, came in my house, all based on a lie that my mom told. So eventually I'll give you more Storytime stories, because since I started with the second time that my mom put a hit out on my husband, you probably want to know about the first time. But suffice it to say, I have lived a very interesting life. to the point where people are like, I don't even understand how you could be kind and happy and, you know, whatever, when you went through these things. I have been through some things that are wholly unlike any of the other Storytime videos that you will watch. So I will share all those things with you, but yeah, that is the end of this Storytime video. So I am going to finish up my first look, and maybe I'll come back and give you a peek at the finished product.